T. So yeah, we'll just wait a couple of minutes to get everyone here so that we've got a few viewers on the channel watching us. Make sure that everything's working okay. Big change in the UK today. Everyone's semi back at work, so yeah, we've done the live at a good time. We'll see how well this goes with viewers. So it won't be a couple of seconds. We'll just get everything else set up. We'll have T+A here in a couple of minutes, so they'll be live, and we'll be able to have a chat with them in a sec. Okay. If anyone is having difficulties hearing us, could you just pop it in the comments just so that we can get it sorted out before we go to T+A and get them introduced, or just let us know that it's working and you can hear us okay. That'd be really helpful. Okay. Yeah, got a few viewers. Hi Rajdeep, good to see you. I hope you're doing well, sir. Not yet. It's not running yet. Can I just check? Is everyone seeing subtitles on their screen at all, or is that just me? You are. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, for some reason I'm getting subtitles on my stream, so that was a bit weird. Okay, right. So it's two o'clock BST and 3 o'clock in Europe. Well, in Germany certainly. And this lockdown lounge is from T+A. So last time we had Visioneers from Germany, and this week we've got T+A, which is theory and application. So without further ado, let me bring in the guys from T+A. We've got Max Kirschke and we've got Lothar Wiesmann, who are from T+A. Would you like to introduce yourself, guys? Hi, welcome.
Hi, hello. Hello.
Hello. How are you all?
Fine, great. Thanks.
Great to have you here. Thank you for taking the time to join us for Lockdown Lounge this week. But first off, would you like to introduce yourselves to the viewers and tell us a bit about who you are and what you do at T+A?
Yeah. Do you want to begin?
Well, okay, I can begin. Hello, my name is Max Kirschke, as we once said. I'm an engineer at T+A, Electroacoustic. I'm working at T+A for about a year now, actually. So I'm a pretty, well, can say a pretty newbie. My duties here are I'm a development engineer for loudspeakers and headphones. I was a former student at the Technical University in Dresden. Then now I'm coming here. I have experience in developing loudspeakers in different ways for automotive, for example, and also for chassis, you know, the loudspeaker side. Working on boxes and have a very huge. So I am working very much with headphones. Also, before I was working here, I had certain internships, also going into different headphone companies, and I'm very eager to do more in headphones. It's a very much I'm living for that, you can say. So maybe that's about me for now. I want to give back to Lothar.
Oh yeah. So you just got to know Max, our youngest colleague. Me, I'm Lothar Wiesmann. I'm with T+A since more than 40 years now.
Wow. Okay.
A pretty long time, and we have done a lot of interesting developments here at T+A, and we can talk a little bit about that during our show here. And I'm Well, responsible for the complete development department. I'm Master of Physics, and so I have a little knowledge of everything, but for the real work, we have our specialists. All in all, T plus A employs 12 development engineers plus a few freelancers if we need some support. So T plus A has a pretty large development department, and this is why we can do so many different things like electronics, amplifiers, streamers, headphones, loudspeakers, and so the whole range of audio electronics and audio transducers are developed here in-house and also are manufactured here in-house.
Wow. Okay. So effectively, the setup is that Lothar, you look after the amplifier. There's a newly released amplifier that we'll get onto in a minute. You've looked after that, so that's your baby, so to speak.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. And then Max, you've taken over the. From what I understand, you look after the design implementation of the headphones.
Yeah, you can say that. Yes, I'm working
Yeah.
on headphones. This is my, let's say, at the moment, my main duty here. I'm working pretty much on this, and I have a lot of, in German, you say, hard blood into this. I like it very much. Yes.
Yeah, that's really good. And there's, Max, do you go into just sort of the development of the drivers, or do you look at the overall picture of the headphone, like the grill and the headband and everything else?
You can see that everything like floats into each other. So if you design a headphone, it's not like that you say, okay, I'm designing only the transducer, only the housing. It's like when you build up, I don't know, the house, you don't have only the designer, you have also the architect, you have also the building engineer. So
Yeah.
house, it's not that I'm working on it alone. No way. We have a lot of engineers who are going on it very much. For example, we have a very good construction engineer here who is working all on the details, all on the how to manufacture the design, and so we got like a design idea, and then the next part is how to design it, how to put it into a nice range and a nice feeling, and to how to produce it even. So, and
Yeah.
one very nice work for Mr. Colbert, who is also working here in the headphones, and is like engineer, mechanical engineer. He is working also on the amplifier. He was doing the amplifier partly. It's like everything is going there. So yeah, my main my direct work is the acoustics. So I'm very much in the acoustics and everything what goes around there, and then also yes, looking into the production, because we do all the drivers we're doing here. So we're building it up here. So this is a very huge effort we put into this.
And with now, obviously, with the development of the products at the moment, I mean, you've launched it in a time of a little uncertainty in the world, and obviously, with you doing everything, by the sounds of it, you do everything in house. How is COVID affecting not only the production but also the getting the product out to your dealers and getting out to the general public? In fact, is Connie available? Maybe he's probably best to introduce himself and answer those questions.
I leave over to Connie.
Hi, Connie. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Good to be with you.
Hello.
My name is Konrad Amft, or Connie as it's short. I joined T plus A 2 years ago. Actually, I am the second generation in the company. My father founded the company and has been steering it for 40 years now. And I joined 2 years ago. I have a degree in economics, and I'm currently heading the marketing department. And of course, as a family business, we deal with COVID pretty drastically because we've not seen that thus far. Thankfully, our facility are actually big enough to allow for social distancing. So we can reduce the risk our staff might incur to a very low level, actually. And what we are seeing now is that our diversification strategy of the past years has really helped us, because when the crisis began, both the United States, the United Kingdom, and Europe were pretty much unaffected when Asia shut down. Now we're seeing kind of the opposite effect of that Asia is actually ticking up a bit and helping out. And so we are still working at the highest capacity possible and plowing through it. And also what might be most important regarding COVID is actually that as a family business, and that's an important message we want to send, is we've never taken risks that put our long-term sustainability at risk. And so right now we can really get through this crisis without laying people off, because we have the assets that can help through it.
That's really good. So effectively, certainly for T+A, it's kind of business as usual then. So anyone who's expecting to place an order for the headphones and the amplifier and indeed all your other products, they shouldn't be affected by certainly manufacturing. Obviously, they may be affected by sort of transit and things like that and courier services. But from you guys, in terms of manufacture, all is well, all is good.
Yeah, exactly. At the moment, our supply chain is working very well. I hope that doesn't get worse over the time. I mean, we don't know if some changes might come. But yes, from our side, if you order with us, we will build the headphone and get it out to you as soon as possible.
Brilliant. That's amazing. It's good to know that things are still rocking and rolling, and yeah, we'll be able to get the headphones into people's living rooms soon.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. So in terms of Solitaire, is that a name that just sort of came out of nowhere, or did Max come up with that, or where did that come from?
Actually, it's a throwback to the 80s, you know. Our first truly high-end speakers, and I think you've been with us back then, haven't you? Were Solitaire OEC. I think that was back in 85?
1984, yes, indeed. Yeah.
Way before I was born. And so to this day, we actually name all our reference level speakers Solitaire. And we're sort of coming up with a headphone. We really wanted to have a name for it that kind of embodies our past, connects us to present, and shows that we are, from a marketing point of view, giving it our very best. And so just Solitaire just popped into our head. I think it was a discussion when all of us sat together and someone just said, why not call it Solitaire P?
If I may cut in here, the Solitaire speakers already had planar transducers. They had electrostats for the treble range. And so here in our first headphone, we are also using planar transducer technology. And so the name Solitaire should also point out that T+A is working since 40 years in developing planar electroacoustic transducers.
That's brilliant. So there is a good link back to the history then of T+A in a pair of these headphones. So it's almost like a shout out to the history that you've had 40 odd years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay. So with Solitaire, obviously that's the first headphone that T+A have made. Is there something coming as well after the Solitaire?
Of course. When we started this project, we set up a headphone division, and so we really want to use that to offer a lot of different headphones at different price points for every taste, so to speak. So we are working At the moment, we're thinking of dynamic headphones, electrostatic headphones. They are a bit down the line, I have to tell you that.
Yeah.
But we will, of course, keep you updated on, shout out to our Instagram as well, where we will post that. But we will definitely be coming up with dynamic headphones, electrostatic headphones. And of course, what's also important, we will be coming up with electronic devices as well that fit you.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So you really are going headfirst into this. This is a big commitment from T+A to get the headphones, to get the amplifiers. This is you're going in big.
Yeah, I think I should say that the idea of the headphones is greatly Connie's impact.
You take the blame, Connie. You take the blame.
He's a very big fan of good headphones, and the first thing when he entered T+A is said, "Let's build a good headphone."
Yeah, because
Brilliant.
if I have a chance to listen to music, I always have would take a headphone, and that was kind of the idea. But of course, all the credit for this design goes to Lothar and Max and the engineers behind it.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you for the update on that, Connie. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for hosting us, Phil.
Yeah, you're very welcome. It's great to have you here. So, sorry, going back to sort of the technology side of these new planar headphones. I'm guessing it's not technology from 40 years ago that you've put into a smaller headphone shaped design rather than a loudspeaker. So, Max, could you share with us sort of some of the technology that you've used? I mean, there's a tech word sort of drafted around, or terminology called draft control system. Is that something that is used in the Solitaire Ps?
Well, yeah, it is actually. It is. Maybe I can show some little things.
Oh yeah, please, thank you.
Why not? About the technology. As you asked about the draft control system, maybe first we have to start with the magnets, because we are not using any magnets here. We are, normally we are using neodymium, of course, because they are the strongest magnets available. So we can get, and we are not using any magnets. We're not using the magnets which we get from the market. They are specially designed for us. So no, that's better say. We designed them, of course. So they are. So like they have a special shape. They have a little cone shape here, so they're not flat here. They are a little round, and also we have like a triangle on the back side. So what we of course we need them, but they're a little in the way. So what we're doing with this draft control system, firstly we have also the filter, which is going here, maybe like this. And so we have a design filter, and so the draft control system is coming from the filter and the magnet. So it means that we're designing it so that we have the maximum airflow and no disturbances in here. So we have only this the wanted like the wanted airflow, which is going here with a filter and the hole. So this is not only a paper or something. This is really a filter, which is designed with a special impedance, with a special acoustic resistance. And we want this resistance here. We want this resistance, and not the resistance of any magnet which is throwing any turbulences. So we designed it like this, that the airflow goes through here and it widens up. So it's a little bit like horns here. So waveguides. We have all the here, putting the sound putting like a so it goes down like a flat wave, and not so much.
Does that act a bit like an amplifier?
Yeah, I think the important thing is that these magnets on the one side act as Max just said, as little acoustic horns, and on the other side they have a shape that gives a very linear magnetic field, so that the membrane, the wires on the membrane really operate in a perfectly linear magnetic field. So the shape of these magnets was optimized in two ways, in the acoustical way and also to form a very linear magnetic field. So these 2 points gave the special shape that these magnets have, and these magnets now have to be manufactured in this special shape, and this is very expensive and has to be done with very, very close tolerances. And I think this is really a very big step forward on transducer technology, this driving magnet system that we have here.
Okay, so when someone is purchasing a set of these Solitaire headphones, I mean, I know there's a lot of brands out there that do outsource. They do get bits and pieces from various different manufacturers. It sounds to me like all of your stuff is in-house. Literally all of it is in-house in terms of the design of the product and the materials that you put together. So someone's buying a product from T+A, they're buying the Solitaire P, they're actually getting something that is literally all made by T+A.
Well, not really. We manufacture, we assemble all the headphones here in house, but we cooperate with subcontractors who do, for example, the mechanical work or the milling and so on. And we also have suppliers who make the diaphragm. By the way, this supplier is situated in England.
Nice.
How are they called?
Yeah,
Micro
Precision.
Micro Precision, yes. So this manufacturer is in England, and it's the best manufacturer in the world, making very thin foils with electric copper or aluminium traces on it. So they are doing very, very good and thin and very light diaphragms, which we need for the transducers. So in this way, we have a lot of suppliers, but all these suppliers are situated here in Europe, most of them in Germany, but not only here, but most of the suppliers are within a radius of, say, 50 miles or so around our company.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Yeah. And all the end assembly testing, this is done here in-house.
Yes.
And the ear cups, you said about the milling of the ear cups, is that one solid piece of aluminium?
You can say that, yes. Let's have a look here. You have, these are the, like, only one piece of aluminium. So this is completely milled from one piece, from full piece of aluminium. And it takes more than an hour to mill this one here, only milling. So it's not stopping by this, because then it's also sandcasted. It's also anodized, also in a nice way, in a very, very detailed way. So maybe we can't see it, but this is very, very detailed here. So we are going into microns in our tolerances, because we have the smallest screws you can imagine. Actually, the screws. Yeah. Or maybe also done in some watches, maybe. Also, here you have these parts where which are also drilled and milled for us, like there's stainless steel also in the system. Everything is done for us here. It's very, very unique, actually, also for us. So maybe I can show you how it's the ear cup is when it's assembled. Yeah. With fork, you say fork in Germany. Here you see the headbands goes in here. We have which is laser graved here, actually, so they change a little bit color here, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
All the parts inside here, are actually really special designed for us. We are not just saying, okay, take this from any discounter and so on. It's really specially designed for us. So you have also this part which shows then the driver actually, and it fits perfectly into here. So you can see actually here, this is the flat system, but this system is not flat. What is one main challenge actually, somebody who is also doing, I don't know, headphones may know that a big challenge is that if you want the membrane not only straight, but you want a little bit tilted. So because we want this to be tilted, so it has a better fitting to the ear, firstly, have a nice fitting at the ear, and also the orientation. So if you have it flat, I can maybe explain it a little bit why we're using planar also. It's the thing that if we have a sound wave coming onto you, so if you have a little driver, it's more like a point source, which is near to your ear. But if you have a planar system, you have like a planar wave. So that it's like in the physics that the point source, the virtual point source, is very much far away. So this is why we're using a planar system. One thing, it's not the only thing, but it's one main thing, is that you have a planar wave coming to your ear, that you don't think it's directly at your ear, but it's more source goes a little bit far away, which makes a very broad and very wide band. So you have like you're sitting in the room, which it's well, the nice thing is sometimes you forget that you're wearing headphones. So this is why also planar transducers and electrostatic transducers sound well. I don't want to go too far by saying they're sounding better, because everything was very nice, but I like very much the planar systems, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not sitting from a position here having not heard these either. I just want to share with my viewers. Obviously, it's not a brand that I'm just bringing on board to Lockdown Lounge just because. It is a brand that I have actually spent time with over the last couple of weeks, and I do of course have them here. And I can comment on their sound, as you say, being very spatial. So you get a really good sense of sound stage, and everything is very, very well lined out and or laid out in the sound stage. And they are very well made, really very, very well made. The one thing that I'll comment on is the treble. The treble is very good, very, very good. It's the one thing that to me stands out amongst the crowd, and it is getting crowded. It is getting a crowded market out there, but the treble to me is slightly unplanar-like, because it's got this lovely sparkle to it, that it's just ethereal. It is just completely ethereal, and yeah, as I say, I've listened to a lot of headphones in this kind of price bracket, which is £5,000. I don't know what it is in euros, sorry, but it's £5,000. And yeah, there's a few headphones at that kind of price bracket, and I must admit, my personal opinion would now be to go to the Solitaire P. It would be my go-to headphone. Having spent many hours with them now, they just work so well across the entire frequency range, and they just sound great. So yeah, well done, well done, Max, for getting that so well. Now, obviously, a lot of people may say that because the fact that the market was full of headphones, that T+A just sort of jumped on the bandwagon and went, well, we'll just make a set of headphones and we'll just try and take some of that market. But having heard them, that's certainly not the case. It sounds like you've spent a little bit of time getting this right. How many days, months, weeks did it take to get these from design to now?
Well, you couldn't even say it in days. You couldn't say it in months, weeks, or anything. We are working really more than a year on this, and not when you say years. So it's not like one person is working on a year. It's many persons who are working on this more than a year, just to make it sounding as best as possible for our standards. First, I want to thank you. I want to thank you. I'm very flattered by this impression, because yes, it was our goal, our main goal, to make a headphone which is has a very broad bandwidth, also to have a nice and tight bass, and also nice treble. So combining the two words,
got everything.
which is, and I'm happy to hear that we actually seem to have got it.
Yeah, you've achieved. Yeah, it's a success in my professional and personal opinion. It's a success. Yes.
Yeah, and maybe we should also point out that the headphone was not the first transducer that T+A developed. So we have a 40-year history in developing electroacoustic transducers. So it was just only the first headphone that we made, but not the first. So we had a little bit of experience.
Yeah, which is experience. Yeah, there's experience there. No, that's great. And we in the UK we get two cables at the moment. So we get a 1/4 inch and a 4.4 balanced connection. So anyone who wants to buy them has the option of doing 1/4 inch and balanced 4.4. Is there any thought about adding an XLR cable to the setup as well?
Well, I have very good news for you. Yes, there will. So actually, we are able to choose between a system which is 6.3 millimeter and the 4.4 millimeter, or you change the 4.4 to XLR, so the 4-pin XLR. This will be available.
By the way, maybe I should point out that we had lots of discussions here if it would be better to deliver the headphone with a standard 4-pin XLR or with the Pentacon connector. Finally, we decided to use the Pentacon as our standard connector, because the Pentacon really has the better contact quality. The contact force is higher. The contact impedance is lower, and so the contact quality really is better with the Pentacon connector. And this is why finally we choose the Pentacon, because for reasons. But if anybody wants now to have a 4-pin XLR, of course, it's possible, no problem. And with our headphone amplifier, we have 3 outputs. We have the Pentacon, we have a traditional 6.3 millimeter plug, and we have the XLR 4-pin. So on the amplifier, you have the choices of all 3 possible connectors. And on the phone, well, it comes with 2 cords, with the standard 6.3 headphone plug, with the Pentacon, and well, the XLR is an option.
Wow. So disregarding the electronics side of things, Lothar, are you saying that between a connector and an XLR connector and a 4.4 connector, you would personally go for a 4.4 over an XLR?
Yes, the 4.4, we have to say, is also a 4-pin, even a 5-pin connection. That's why it's called Pentacon. It has 4 pins for the balanced headphone connection plus 1 shield, which is completely separate. So it even has 1 pin more than the 4-pin XLR. It's fully balanced, and as I said, it has the best possible contact quality that we found with any connector on the market.
That's brilliant to know. That is absolutely fantastic to know. Now, Lothar, obviously, you did introduce about the connections on the front panel there of I guess, your amplifier that you have babied and nourished and come up with for us. Would you like to sort of tell us a little bit more about the technology and what you're trying to achieve with the headphone amplifier?
Yeah, first of all, it's not just only an amplifier. In fact, it's an amplifier, a D2A converter, and we also put in a couple of sources. So it's a very versatile device. And maybe I start with the amplifier part. We are using our so-called HV technology in the analog stages. HV here stands for high voltage. T+A came up about 10, 15 years ago with our so-called high voltage technology. And this high voltage technology means that we are using much higher than normal rails voltages. These very high rails voltages help us to construct very linear amplifiers. The higher the voltage is, the more linear the performance of the amplifier gets. So by linearizing the amplifier, we can then afford to only use very low amounts of feedback. So our amplifier designs are very linear by nature, and they don't need the brute force method of applying high amounts of feedback to get low distortions. And our thinking, we prefer to build a perfect amplifier which we don't have to correct by feedback, instead of building a mediocre amplifier and apply high amounts of feedback to get it right. So, and this design goal, keeping the distortion very low by construction, the high voltages really help achieving this goal. And the second thing is that we are using Class A technology in all stages of the amplifier, and the main amplifying stages are all single-ended construction, so no push-pull amplifying stages, which means that only one amplifying element, only one transistor is doing the positive and the negative halfway of the signal, and you don't get any imbalance, which you always get when you have a push-pull construction with two transistors, one for the positive, one for the negative half wave. And so by using single-ended technology, we also come closer to this aim of building a non-repeating amplifier. So this is what we altogether combine in this word HV technology. And yeah, it's very successful in our HV series, in our top-of-the-range electronic series. And this is the first time that we employ the HV technology in a smaller form factor here. But we think for our top-of-the-line headphone amplifier, we should use the best available. This is why we use HV. The second thing is the D2A converter, which we put into that case. It's not a standard off-the-shelf D2A converter bought from some manufacturer. It's a very unique design. First of all, I have to say that we completely differentiate between PCM signals and DSD signals. We have completely separate signal paths, one for PCM, one for DSD. This is because PCM and DSD are totally different signals by nature, and it's not a good idea using the same signal path for both. So we have two signal paths, which each we can optimize for signal. Then at the end of this signal path, we have one PCM converter, and for the DSD signals, we have a separate C converter. I think T+A is the only company in the world who really decides when it comes to D2A conversion between PCM and DSD. For the PCM, we use We call it a quadruple DAC, meaning that this DAC is built of 4 individual DACs, which are combined to a double differential converter. This double differential topology minimizes distortion, but mainly it minimizes the noise. So we lower the noise floor by an additional 6 dBs over what you would get from an off-the-shelf DAC. So this very, very low noise floor guarantees us a very good, what we call black level of the analog output signal. One thing which is also very important, before the D2A converters, we have a signal processor for doing the upsampling. All PCM signals that we receive are upsampled to 768 kilohertz sampling frequency, and this upsampling process is something which is very delicate in a way, that you can make many errors and many mistakes here at this stage. So since about 30 years, T+A does a lot of research in upsampling technology, and we found out in the early 1990s that standard upsampling filters, so-called FIR filters, a certain amount of pre-ringing and post-ringing to impulsive signals. So these digital upsamplers do not preserve the original time behavior of the signal. And we tried to find better ways doing the upsampling process, and we came up with so-called Bézier interpolation, Bézier interpolators doing the upsampling process. And this Bézier interpolation really preserves the waveform of the analog signal without adding any artificial pre- and post-ringing. And we found that the pre- and post-ringing associated with standard upsampling processes is one of the things that in the end leads to this so-called digital sound. Because, if you look at such a signal, if you have pre-ringing added to an impulse, this is absolutely unnatural. No instrument produces sound before you hit it or so. The human brain is very susceptible to these unnatural things. And this is something which we absolutely are trying to avoid. And this is why we developed this Bézier technology. And we are using this constantly in consistently through all our products since more than 25 years now. And of course, we employed this special form of digital oversampling in the HA200 as well. So this, what I just said, all is for the PCM signal path. And looking at the DSD signal path, this is much shorter. In DSD, we don't need upsampling or anything. We just receive the DSD signals and then run the shortest way possible between the input and the D2A converter. The DSD conversion itself then is done by our so-called T+A 1-bit converter technology. I think we are the only ones, T+A is the only company who really does a pure DSD conversion. If you look at D2A converters you can buy off the shelf, they do internally convert DSD to low-bit PCM, in fact. So they have not a clean DSD signal path. And this is why T+A developed this true 1-bit converter technology, which you cannot buy as an off-the-shelf integrated circuit. We really have to build this converter from discrete components. But in the end, this really pays off. You get an extremely good sound quality with this, because we avoid really any touching the DSD signal stream. We don't do any conversion or anything else. We really have the pure DSD signal and convert it directly to analog. And this is the way you can handle such DSD signals.
With you saying that, I wasn't aware of all of that. However, when listening to the amplifier, because I have both here, I don't just have the headphones. I've got your amplifier and the headphones as well, and I've managed to spend quite a lot of time with both of them. The one thing that I did notice is that when I'm listening to DSD very often, I can't stand it. I can't stand DSD because it sounds worse than just a standard 44.1, 16-bit 44.1 FLAC of the exact same production, but just different file formats. But one thing that I established very quickly was that when listening to the DSD through the HA200, there was then a difference between the PCM and the DSD, and to me, it made the DSD sound listenable and enjoyable, rather than it not.
Yeah, there's one thing about DSD I have to say. When DSD came to the market in form of the SACD, it was too early. At that time, processors were not fast enough for really high DSD bit rates. So the original DSD signal only had a frequency of about 3 megahertz, because simply processors weren't faster at that time. And having this kind of DSD, DSD64 it's called, means it works. It does not work really good, because this low frequency DSD brings a high amount of ultrasonic noise with it. And this ultrasonic noise has to be dealt with either by applying sharp roll-off filters, which is bad for the sound because they introduce lots of phase shifts, etc., or to accept this high frequency noise, but this is also not good for the sound.
Yeah.
And DSD really makes sense and really becomes better than PCM only at very high DSD bit rates, meaning at DSD 256 at least, better DSD 512, or even better DSD 1024. At DSD 1024, for example, we have a bit frequency of 49 megahertz, so 49 million samples per second. At these huge data rates, we don't have any kind of high frequency noise associated with the signal. We have a very clean signal. The only question now is, where do I get these DSD 1024 signals from?
Yeah.
I can buy it on an SACD or whatever. But I don't know if you're aware that there is a software on the market. It's called HQ Player. It's done by a Finnish guy.
Yeah.
It's not very expensive. I think it costs around $100 or so. But this HQ Player you can run on a PC, and you can upsample all your music to DSD 512 or DSD 1024 with very sophisticated algorithms. And I'm sure and I'm convinced if you once listen to HQ Player in combination with one of our 1-bit DACs, you completely change your mind regarding DSD. Then I think you'll be convinced that DSD, high rate DSD, really is the best way to convert.
Exactly, and I would concur with that. I mean, having heard, as I say, having heard the DSD through, it was a bit of Genesis. I know, don't judge me on my liking of Genesis. However, Genesis track, and it just sounded so much better than the FLAC, the CD quality FLAC. So yeah, very, very impressive. Now, obviously, with the ability of accepting such a high data rate, you don't just have coax on the back and optical. You've also got an optional HDMI and USB-C. There's a USB-C on the back.
It's USB-B.
Yeah.
Yeah. The USB-C, sorry, the USB-A connector is just for charging the remote control, and the USB-B connector, we've got two of them. They are to connect PCs. So I personally more and more see PCs as part of hi-fi systems. I know that there are many people out there who do not like having a PC in a hi-fi system, but a PC really gives new possibilities to improve sound quality. And if you had asked me 5 years ago, I would have told you that I would not like it in my system, but this has completely changed for me. And my system at home today, I have a very powerful PC as a music server, which is located down in my cellar. And then I send the music files to my DAC via network. This works perfectly well. So I have the powerful PC in the cellar where it doesn't disturb anybody, and I have the high quality, high performance music in my living room. And so using network technology, high power PCs, and very high quality DACs, I think really is the best way today to the highest level of music performance.
Yeah. And obviously, so I did just want to touch upon the fact that there is a HDMI add-on. So you can get that through HDMI as well.
Yeah, many people like to use their Blu-ray players they have at home to play back SACDs. So, and the normal way of transporting data between a Blu-ray player and a DAC is HDMI. So we have the option. The HDMI is not a standard, but we have an option to add an HDMI input module. So for those who would like to use their Blu-ray players as high quality DVD audio and SACD players, they can just connect it via an HDMI cable, and they can transfer DSD and PCM signals at highest data rates via this HDMI cable.
Sure. But and that is available now. So the HDMI board is available now, or is that coming soon? Or
it's you can have it anytime. It's available. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm guessing that needs to be if someone purchases the amplifier and later on in their journey they decide they want to upgrade. Is it something that a user can do, or does it need to go back to the distributor in the country to get done?
Oh, no, it's no problem. It can be retrofitted. You just have to lift the top cover and then plug in the board and 2 screws, and then it's done.
Brilliant, brilliant. Now the amplifier is in the UK £6,600, and there's a few clients that have fed back the fact that it's quite an expensive piece of kit to be a dedicated headphone amplifier and not fit into their system and not be able to be used in their hi-fi system as a preamplifier. Am I right in assuming that that's not actually the case, and it can be used as a preamplifier using the XLR output to a stereo? So effectively, it can be used as a device in an existing setup.
Perfectly right. When we designed the device, we had in mind a pure headphone amplifier without, it should be as pure as possible. But of course, if you like to connect active speakers or a power amplifier, you can use the XLR output, and we have an adapter cable available, which gives you then, or which transforms the 4-pin XLR out to RCA sockets so that you can connect your amplifier or active speakers. The XLR output is very well suited even for driving very long cables, because it's a very low output impedance of only 8 ohms, so you can drive really some 100 meters of cable if you wish. And so yeah, it's a very good and good quality preamplifier output. So if you don't have an XLR headphone, then you can very well use it as preamp out.
Brilliant. And obviously, to get balanced output in terms of voltage and current level, do we have to set it at a specific volume, or do we have to tell it that it's in line out mode or balanced out mode, or how do we do that? If we want to use it as a dedicated DAC, is there a way of setting it as a fixed output effectively?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Is there a way of, if we just wanted to use it as a DAC and as a headphone amplifier into another system, is there a way of setting it with a line with a fixed output from the XLR?
Well, no, currently not. But I can imagine that we will add this into the software. It would only just be a question of software. So we could very well add such a fixed volume setting option into the software one day. Yeah.
All right, cool. And the three outputs. So you touched on the fact that there's an XLR, there's 1/4 inch, and there's a 4.4 output on the amplifier. Each individual output can have varying impedances, so you can actually set each output to have a different impedance per headphone attached to the amplifier.
Yes. So I don't know if it's a unique feature of our amplifier. I don't know if there are other amplifiers who can do that, but it's a good thing to have, because each headphone has more or less different demands regarding the output impedance of the amplifier. If you look at the amplifier headphone relation, and if you look at the output impedance, it means that if you have a very low output impedance, it will bring a high amount of damping to your headphone system. High amount of damping means that the transducer is very well controlled by the amplifier. But on the other hand, this high amount of damping does not permit the transducer to develop its own characteristics. So more or less, you force the transducer to do what the amplifier wants. This can be good, but in many cases, it leads to an overdamping of your system. And overdamping means that you get a very dry bass response, but that you also get a very dry and sometimes crisp and harsh mid and high range frequency range. So if you choose a little bit higher output impedance, generally makes the sound a little bit warmer, softer, and more harmonic. And so for each amplifier, for each headphone, there is really one optimum output impedance where things match best. So with our amplifier, you can just switch between the different output impedances and listen to your headphone and see where this optimum point is, if it's at lower or higher impedances. As a rule of thumb, I would suggest to start somewhere at 1/5 of the impedance of your headphone. So say you have an 80 ohms headphone, then start maybe around 16 ohms of output impedance of the amplifier. And from this point on, just lower or increase the output impedance and see what happens, how the sound changes. And these are only very small details, but they can be very, very, yeah,
make a big difference.
to the whole impression you get from your phone.
Yeah.
If you switch impedances, don't do it. Switch, listen, switch, listen, switch, and listen for a couple of minutes, then switch to the other impedance, and again listen for a couple of minutes to get a good impression. You also have to observe that when you raise the impedance, the volume drops a little bit. So maybe you have to adjust the volume by 1 step or so when you go to higher impedances, so that you're on the same volume level. This is a process. Maybe it will take you a couple of days or even a week until you really set up your mind what impedance really best suits your headphone and also your taste. Of course, some people like a very controlled and very tight bass system. Other people perhaps prefer a smoother and a more harmonic sound. So with this feature, we really give you a tool at hand to really optimize the sound quality of your amplifier headphone system.
Okay, so basically, because I think a lot of customers and clients would have looked at the spec sheet and gone, right, so your amplifier does that output impedance, my headphones do that output impedance, but they don't match, so I can't possibly have this amplifier. But from what you're saying is that you're actually trying to match to 1/5 or 1/10 of the output impedance of the headphone with the amplifier. It's not a like for like, it's a 1/5 to 1/10. Wow, brilliant. And is there at the moment, I think it's 8 ohms is the minimum that you've got at the moment. Is there an ability to go lower, or is it not effective to go lower, or?
We could go down to 0 if you like, but our experience is that the sweet spot for all the headphones that we know is somewhere between, say, 12 and 40 ohms.
Okay.
I personally don't know any headphone which requires lower or higher impedances, but so we matched our tuning range to the headphones that are really available on the market. If you prefer to have a lower impedance, would be no big thing to build an optionally an amplifier with 4, 2, 1, or even 0 ohm output impedance. Our amplifier can drive anything. It delivers more than 1 ampere in pure Class A mode, so it can really drive any speaker and it can drive any load. So the 8 ohms is not an implication of our amplifier. It's just that we found out that this is the optimum tuning range. Between 8 and 80 ohms is what you need for those headphones on the market.
Wow. Okay, that's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for that explanation, Lothar. That's really helpful, because I think a lot of people would have just looked at the tech spec and gone, I can't possibly do this because my headphones are not suited. So that's brilliant. So if someone goes ahead and buys the headphone and amplifier as a combo, what would be their first test track that they would need to listen to? Lothar first, I guess, because you were speaking first. What would you suggest that they listen to from this setup?
I'm a hopeless fan of classic progressive rock, so if I would recommend anything here, I think hardly no one of our listeners would know what it is.
Maybe write it in the comments later, and then they can search it out. Max, what would your go-to track be for this combo? What have you been testing it?
This is a tough question. You know?
Yeah, I'll throw you in at the deep end.
Yes, I would actually not so much go into to say, okay, I have the ultimate test track. This is not what I'm saying. What I would say, because our goal was to have a very wide range of sound. We want to go there, and it's so I listen to rock, I listen to classical, I listen very much to classical music. I like it. I like very dynamic music, which is very nice. I like tight bass. I like it very much. Also, so don't underestimate some of the electronic music, which was mixed pretty good. So some of my further experience was also I'm a hobbyist in mixing also. So I like to have a very good sound, and this is the most important to me, to have a good sounding music. And this is not referring to a certain genre, you say, because you have different genres. You say, okay, it's not a good mix, but having a good sound and good feeling in the sound, you see. So this is our goal, is to deliver the quality of the music as it is. And I think the combo, this was one of a goal to achieve this, to having a good sound for every possible way.
Yeah.
See the detail of the music you can hear. So everything, like you can take a mix from the stereo play. You can get good mixes from, let's say, I also like English music very much. I like, let's say, Kate Bush very much. I like, actually, this is one of my personal favorites, I have to say, not so much talking about any things, but the feeling is like Peter Gabriel. I was working, growing up with Peter Gabriel, actually.
Yeah.
And it's very dynamic.
With him or with his music? With him or with his music?
Well, I would have been growing up with him if I had the chance, actually. Yeah, I like that he's so much into the detail, going into word music. Yes, a song.
Yeah.
If I can say one favorite song for me is like, it's The Heat. A song, A Rhythm of the Heat, which has an incredible amount of dynamic in the sound, which goes from the lowest down to the high, and so much impact at the end with the drums and so on. And well, listen to it for itself. You know, listen to this track, for example, on speakers on the headphone. So this is the thing where. Well, I told you I like the bass, which is coming back to the diaphragm again. We have a very big diaphragm. We have, I say, the biggest diaphragm possible in this system here, because you saw the magnets maybe, and the magnets go all over the place. It's not like going just a little part here.
Whole lot. Yeah.
Planar transducers do also, but you know, we want a planar transducer, and our goal is to have a planar wave. We want to have a planar system, and to get the maximum force into the system we can actually get. So you see the magnets go actually up to the end.
The edge. Yeah, we go to the edge of the chassis. Yeah.
We couldn't get any further. Couldn't get any farther in any way. So, and this is now is getting down here. So you see it fits perfectly. And what is nice is the magnets going down here. So yeah, a very big challenge for us to make the systems so big. But the goal, of course, was to get a full bass, but also very tight bass, and to make it a little bit, let's say slapping, but let's say it's detailed, very detailed and nice. And I one of the goes, well, one of the approaches we had to have this big magnet system, only one-sided, also not two-sided, but one-sided, to get the maximum amount of one side, to have a very free sound.
Flowing.
Yeah. Not having anything in between there, only the security, then you don't touch it, anything. This is all. So we have, let's say, so this is, so from my opinion, so from our side, it's the maximum we could achieve in the system.
Yeah, I mean, you did, you mentioned that the sound has to be musical. So it sounds as though you not only look at a graph on how this is the frequency response of this headphone, you're actually listening to it and seeing what needs changing in order to make sure that it's a musical headphone.
Yeah, that's right, actually. One of the most important things for me in development stage is the listening part. it's not only, okay, you need the graphs. You need to see all the graphs to see where is your headphone heading, where is it, how is it comparing good, how is the high, the low frequency range. But the thing is, you're looking at the system, and you have a certain head measuring it. Then you set the other head there, and you have different measurement system. I'll give you a little different explaining of the music, and every ear shape is different. You may know that we have a natural ear, and the ear shape is actually like a little bit like the fingerprint, as it said. Like everyone has a different ear, so yes, it's very important to look at the graph to have a good overall view. But it's also very important to have a lot of people listening to the system and say, okay, what do I feel in the listening, and how does it sound to me? And so no, I don't only look at the graphs.
So from a listener's perspective as well, my feedback would be that there's a few headphones that I have listened to in the past that are current. They're in production at the moment, and I think I'm not the only one in thinking that they're amazing for detail. So you'll pick them up and they're really good for detail, and they show everything up. Bad recordings, terrible recordings, they'll show it up. The only issue with that is that they're not musical, and I have a real annoyance by those headphones that come across and are really analytical but yet completely lose the magic because they're that clinical and they're like a scalpel knife. The one thing I found from the Solitaire was that they were a really detailed, really informative pair of headphones, but you never lost the musicality. You never lost that underlying. For me, I think it's the bass. It's that movement of the bass that continues throughout the piece that keeps the musicality going and the rhythm of the music. And so for me, that's why I now find the Solitaire to be literally the top of where you can go in terms of a headphone, purely because they are more comfortable than a competitors at a similar kind of price bracket, and they are phenomenally well built. So they kind of tick every single box, and I think I explained this to a client probably 2 days ago. The Solitaire for me does tick all the boxes, and where I'm suggesting another set of headphones, there may be one box that it doesn't tick, like it's a bit heavy, or it's a little bit dark, or the treble extension is a bit too much. The Solitaire literally does everything. There's nothing that I could ask from it that it doesn't already give, and I think that's a great, fantastic achievement for T+A to have done that.
I thank you very much for this opinion. I'm very flattered again. Yes, of course, this was our goal, to leave nobody behind, to leave nothing to chance, and to make a headphone which is as well the great sound, the greatest we could achieve here. Our channels, and also making the headphones we know, yes, are big. And
and I mean, my other thought is the fact that it's such an easy solution because you've got an amplifier and because you've got a headphone. Clients are done. Clients are done. They just want a headphone system that is the best quality they can get. HA200 Solitaire P at the moment, that's all they need. That's all they need worry about. It is literally that combination. And I've listened to a lot, believe me, I've listened to a lot of same manufacturers combinations of amplifier and headphone, and this to me fits the brief perfectly. It is a good quality DAC, a really good quality amplifier and output stage, and a very, very quality headphone. So I feel that for the client, there literally isn't there isn't a multitude of different options. It's literally that if you've got that kind of financial ability, then the combo is magic, absolute magic.
Thank you.
Yeah, you must have worked hard as a collaboration to get both seamlessly working together.
You can say that, yes. Yes, we are working very hard on this, and yes, it's nearly all of the development. We were talking together, testing the system, testing it out with each other, also with some other things, different approaches we tried, and in the end we felt, okay, this is the perfect solution we could get.
Yeah.
Solution
Yeah.
we could.
Yeah. And obviously the build quality and everything is, yeah, it's amazing. Packaging, even the VU meters. So did you want to say as well, Lothar, about what the VU meters can do as well? Because it's not just VU output, is it? You can adjust those to show different things. So for the sort of ones that are technically minded, they can see a bit more information going on from the VU.
Yeah, having these nice meters, I thought would be a good idea to use them for a couple of other things, like, for example, displaying the temperature of the output stages. Every amplifier, every semiconductor has a certain temperature point where it really sounds best. And this amplifier, the output stages should be between 40, 45, and 60 degrees Celsius to really operate at their best temperature. And I thought we could use these VU meters also to show the temperature. The third operation mode is to show the frequency of the incoming digital signal. So, as you may know, the requirements for the digital transmission is to have a clock frequency which is exact to plus minus 50 ppm. So on this VU meter, we can show a range of plus minus 100 ppm. So on first sight, you can see, is your source outputting the mean frequency it should, or is it a little bit slow or a little bit fast? But more than this information is important that the frequency is stable and it's not drifting. And this you can very well monitor with the VU meter. And if you have connected a digital source, and if you see that the frequency is drifting, then it's a sign of not good quality. And so just monitoring the frequency of the incoming signal, and on the other VU meter, we can monitor the amount of errors, of transmission errors per second. So this also gives you a good information about the quality of your source and also about the quality of the digital cables that you are using. So these are just some benefits of the VU meters that come at no extra cost.
It's a freebie. It's a freebie. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So yeah, well, guys, thank you so much for your time. It's greatly appreciated, and yeah, taking your time out of your day to come and speak to us and share with us about the products that you just launched. Obviously, the amplifier is available in black and silver, so if anyone's got silver equipment or black equipment, then they can choose between two colors.
Yeah, true. Here's a black one.
Brilliant.
Great prototype from the lab. Yeah. How it looks from the inside. Just to give you one number. On the main board, we have about 2,200 discrete components. So that really is a lot. And this is a consequence of our high voltage technology. We cannot use operational amplifiers. We have to build every amplifying stage out of discrete components.
Yeah.
And so that's why we get so many components on our main amplifier board. Well, yeah.
Cheers. Right, so to top things off, I guess we'll go to Q&A time. Just wanted to have a quick look over the questions that anyone else has been asking on the live feed whilst we've been doing that. I've got a question here, which is, do we have plans to spend cheap headphones in the $1,000 range or less? So I'm guessing that's asking, do you plan to have headphones in around $1,000? Is there someone able to answer that, or shall we add that to the queue of questions in the document, or is anyone?
Here by Konradin again.
Hi guys.
Yes.
Again.
Give the word to you.
Hello.
Yeah, we are looking into that. I mean, we've pursued a kind of luxury strategy, but we're definitely looking into headphones below 1,000. I didn't know which currency was referred to, but we are definitely looking in.
Dollars.
Yeah, dollars. Yeah, we're planning to have headphones in that price range. Actually, yes.
That's brilliant. So yeah, I think that's wrapped up. If there is any further questions, then feel free to add them to the comments below, and we'll endeavour to get them answered by any one of you guys, if that's okay. If we can come back to you with questions and get them answered over the next sort of 24, 48 hours, and then we'll try and get them answered live on the comments. The amplifiers and headphones are available now, both available now, and they are £6,600 for the amplifier and £5,000 for the headphones, which come with the 2 cables. Was I right in thinking they come with 2 cables, Connie? And you can choose between your balanced 4.4 balanced XLR4, or can you get all of them, or how does that work?
We offer 2 cables, but we leave the choice totally up to the customer. So you let the dealer know. In that case, that would be you. And if the customer lets you know which combination of the 2 they choose, and you let us know, we will ship them in that way.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Is there anything you guys wanted to share that you haven't discussed or haven't let us know about any of the products?
Well, I don't know. Everything is said. Yes. If there's no more questions, feel free.
Fantastic, guys. Thank you so much. Again, just thank you for taking your time out of today to come and have a chat with us. Wishing you all the success with the products. As I say, I'm a convert. I'm blown away with the combination. As I say, it's a very, very easy thing to say now. If you want something that is a system that's complete, literally HA200 and Solitaire P, you're not going to go wrong. For the functionality it offers, the sound that it offers, the size, the comfort, everything, it's all been nailed, absolutely nailed. So yes, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for the info. Thank you for the info.
Take care. Have a great afternoon.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Thank you. And they're gone. Wow, that was brilliant. That was really good, really interesting. I love the information about the ohmage and the difference with the headphones, different headphones, and being 1/5 of the 1/10 of the output impedance. I had no clue of that, so that was really interesting. So both of the products, yeah, they're available now. So they're available online as of now. So if you did want to grab a pair yourself, then feel free to do so. Or if you have any questions or anything else, feel free to either comment on this live, or you can contact me directly, and I'll gladly help out and see if I can get some further information from you, from them, and get it back to you. So that's no problem at all. We could try and have another lockdown lounge. So we'll announce that coming up probably in the next week or so. People are now going back to work in the UK, so we're going to see what days suit and try and get something put in the diary for another lockdown lounge, which would be really cool. I think it's going really well, and a lot of people are getting a lot of information from them. So if you have any ideas as to who you want in the lockdown lounge as well, then just drop me an email or drop me a WhatsApp or whatnot. Let me know who you want on the channel. Let me know who you want to talk to and who you want to get information from. I've got a few ideas of my own, so I'm working on those behind the scenes to see if we can bring them on board and get them through the lounge. And yeah, I mean, just stay in contact. Stay in contact. Let me know. Give me feedback. Let me know how they're going, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Cheers for tuning in. Take care, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, because it will be on the YouTube channel later on this evening, so you can view it on repeat and see anything that you missed and skip parts and fast forward and rewind and whatnot. So yeah, brilliant. Take care, guys. Thank you. Bye bye.